Welcome back to another reading and correcting with me, Kindar, the Tiger Writes, and Ty, the Tiger Supervisor. These are where I read a chapter from one of my stories and correct it as I go. If you want to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. And if you are looking to support me, that is on my Patreon. Today we are doing chapter 92 of The World Which Is. Brendan, get in close. The way I remember it, that thing is geared for range with those guns. It can pivot on the leg joint, but so it can hit you hard, but it lacks flexibility. If you can damage the joints, and keep it from spinning, it will have to maneuver around to keep track of you, which will keep it from firing at us. Alan Silver, our job is to keep its attention while Brandon damages it. But if you can break something, Alan, do so. If that thing's fireproof, me and Silver are going to be useless. It's armored, but I don't remember it being fireproof. Beyond being made of metal, Brandon points out. The joints aren't. How sure of that are you? I shrug, as sure as I can be when my only source of information is the movie that thing is based on, which I watched, which I was a kid the last time I watched. The joints need to be flexible, and metal can't grant that. As a reminder, Brendan says, it's possible it won't acknowledge you if you're outside its detection range, even when being attacked. Since the goal is to distract it from me, keep track of that and do what you can to not get yourself killed if you need to step out of cover to get its attention. He chugs a potion. Sis, don't worry about burning me. We nod and we each take our door frame as our cover. Being our heaviest range hitter, Ellen gets things started by fireballing the automaton. I can't even see scorch marks on the metal, even if when the fire dies away, but it turns in her direction. We have its attention. Brandon runs at it, and I shoot an arrow at the torso joint. He ducks under the gunfire, then ducks out of my sight where the corridor widens. The automaton tracks him, breaking the arrow that embedded itself where I aimed. Silver plays a series of staccato notes as I shoot more arrows, and small explosions pepper its surface. It turns to us and lets loose a barrage of bullets. Everyone okay? I call when it stops. Yes, Ellen says. I took cover, Silver replies. No, Brandon yells, followed by two rapid impact. You're supposed to keep its attention. I leave cover and fire arrow after arrow, trying and failing to get the automaton's attention. Small explosion accompanies Silver's music to little effect. Alan speaks those cursed magic words, and I have to fight to focus through how the discomfort of them slipping through my mind keeps. And I have to fight to focus through how. Okay, I have to focus through how the discomfort of them slipping through my mind to keep through the discomfort of them slipping through my mind to keep shooting. That explosion gets its attention. Fuck! Brendan yells as the automaton fires in the corridor again, ripping off walls, but further down. You said not to worry about burning you, she yells. I didn't know you had something hot enough to almost overwhelm my fire protection potion. That's what happens when you spend all your time away from home. The rest of us grow in power. Something hits metal with a force that I expect Brandon and with enough force that I expect Brandon to curse in pain, but what follows is another impact. I break cover to shoot again. I aim as best as I can at the torso joint as it spins, attempting to slam a thick arm into Brandon, but he dodges that until it takes a step toward him as he moves. That impact sends him into the wall hard enough he doesn't immediately stand. An icon appears next to him on the team list. He's stunned! Ellen speaks magic again, and Silver's music builds. The explosions aren't at the same time, but close enough that they stagger it. Then it turns in our direction. Another barrage of bullets, more of the wall destroyed, and the destruction is moving toward us. Fuck. We need to hurry this. The barrage is moving closer to us each time. When it reaches us, I don't think there's anything we can do to survive it. Why would it do that? Silver asked, the music building again. I curse. It's a fucking timer. Action movies always have something like that. I break cover and shoot. It raises attention for those watching. I hate those things then, Ellen grumbles before magic words pierce through my mind. This time the explosion isn't fire but steam. I glare at her. How am I supposed to shoot something I can't see? It's not like your arrows have much effect, she replies calmly. I'm about to point out that's all I have, but Brandon cuts me off. Thanks, sis. She smirks. Brandon's debuff is gone. Fist hit metal. I send my bow to my inventory and equip my sword and shield. Don't go in there, she warns. You aren't heat-proof. Fist hit metal again. Metal hits armor, and Brandon's health flashes, dropping well below half. There we go, he says. Kinda wish I could see him fighting, Silver says. His health steadily drops. I'm going to need it distracted in 3, 2. I switch to my bow. Now. Ellen snaps fingers and the steam vanishes. I shoot arrows. Ellen and Silver sends explosions at it. The small one steadily moving towards an arm joint. It turns and fires before they reach it. We take cover, and more of the wall vanishes. Can you do that again? Brendan yells. Ellen speaks magic, and I do my best to ignore it. She finishes, and nothing happens. Really? Brendan yells. You chose now to make up a new spell? He dodges the automation swings. It worked once, didn't it? Once isn't doing me much good now. Let's remove that. Once isn't doing me much good. I line up my shot, take my time. Brendan has it with its back to us, well distracted, and that arm looks somewhat loose already. I ignore the sound of the impact, and Brandon's grunt. It raises its arm, sending it standing otherwise still. I loose the arrow. It embeds itself in the shoulder joint to the point I can't make it out. The arm doesn't come down. It pivots, and I curse, ducking back. The bullet ravaged the corridor, then the ceiling, moving past us. Brandon is under the arm, shouldering it up. It pivots, sending him off his feet, and we attack again. I can't aim with the fire explosion, so most of my shots hit metal, and the few places where they embed into something, I don't think it does anything. When my quiver is empty, I quickly bring up my inventory to refill it and stare at the empty slot. I had a fucking train of them when we entered this room, and how the fuck am I out now? I'm out of arrows. Fuck. I look at Brandon fighting it. It's still too mobile. Ellen and Silver can't do the kind of precision that's going to help. I equip my sword and shield. This isn't the smartest thing I've ever done. What are you doing? Ellen yells after me as I run out for the automation. That is a good question. Just what is the plan here, Dennis? The joints take away its mobility, and Brandon has the strength advantage. I hope. I slam my sword in the knee joint, and it goes in with sparking. I shove it to the side, more sparking. Then I'm in the air. Half my health is gone from the kick. I lose more when I hit the wall, but comparatively little. I down a healing potion. Healing potion. I need to start accumulating swords if I'm going to keep leaving them in the monster I'm fighting. But a train of them, buy a train of them, identical, so they'll only take up one slot. Brandon dodges, strikes evade. When a punch staggers it back, it almost falls from the leg not bending, so I helped. You're an idiot, he says after a glance in my direction. Coming from you, that's a compliment, right? He lobs something in my direction, and I catch the sword. Just how much junk do you have in that inventory of yours? At my strength, I have the slots to spare. You good to get back in the fight? My health isn't maxed, but it's not going up anymore. Dennis is getting back in. He yells, stop the fire attacks. As soon as the explosions stop, I run at the automaton, planting the sword in one knee, but not staying around for another kick. Then I scramble as it pivots, bullet destroying the wall as it trails behind me. I throw myself down and they pass over me, then keep going up to the sound of straining metal. I turn to watch it fall to its side. Then Brandon has its arm around the gun as his arm Then Brandon grabs the gun arm, planting his feet and pulling, more straining metal. I run to him, pulling the sword out of the knee and slamming it in the shoulder joint. I yank on it. He pulls on the arm, and a shower of spark. And to a shower of spark, there's going to be a comma here. We both fall on our back, the arm clattering away. We don't get a reprieve. The other arm moves, and it pushes itself to its feet. I am up, moving away. Violent play, staccato notes, explosion, pop in the knee joint. Then a large one shatters the leg in two. Shatters the leg in two. I don't need the there. And it falls on its side, bringing the gun to bear on Silver and Ellen. I join Brandon, and we shove it so it fires into the wall, then ceiling. It sends us flying, but as I get back to my feet, the explosions are going at it again, and the arm is blasted off. Stay away from it, Brandon warns, panting. It packs one hell of a punch. I let myself drop against the wall, watching it struggle futilely. Should we just leave it like that? Ellen asks. We need to kill it for it to count toward discovering more of the ruin, he replies. But there's no need to rush it at this point. It's also how we get the experience, Silver says, violin still to a shin. Brandon chuckles. If you want to keep playing at it, I won't stop you. At this point, it won't matter who kills it. We've all put in enough hits to get a good share. She starts soft enough. I think it's a piece to help us heal, but then it builds and builds again. Don't burn yourself out, Ellen warns. We aren't out of here yet. She doesn't answer, the music still building. Then, with a discordant yank of the bow across the strings, immediately followed by a deafening explosion, the song ends. When the dust settles, the other leg is blown off the body, but I can hear the mechanism inside the body still whirling. I'd hoped for something more destructive, she says, disappointed. How much money do you have left? Ellen asks. A sliver. I controlled how much I fed into the song. We're taking the time to rest, so I'll have regenerated enough for whatever the ruin sends at us. You want to go at it? Brandon asks Ellen, getting to his feet. She shakes her head. He steps to it, and a large, and I mean half his size large, sledgehammer appears in his hand. Then I get to have fun. He brings it down on it, over and over. I've gone up a level, Silver exclaims. Must be dead, then, Brandon says with satisfaction. The sledgehammer vanishes back into his inventory. How long do you want to rest here? He asks me. I look up. How dangerous do you think the roof is going to be? It shouldn't be. It was guarding the access, so there should only be the building's reward. He kicks away pieces of the automaton, looking around. No loot again, he whispers. I push to my feet. Let's go up and see what we're dealing with as a ruin. We can rest there or come back down here. Brandon helps me with the door. It got bent at some point in the fight. The sun's warmth feels comforting after going through the building. Around us are partially destroyed buildings of all sorts. Brandon grumbles something about the lack of reward there. That looks suspiciously intact, Ellen says, pointing in the distance. I shield my eyes, and she's right. I make out part of a squat building with its wall unblemished by anything marking the others as having survived Armageddon. You don't happen to have binocular in there, do you? I ask Brandon, and he hands it to me. With that to my eyes, I slowly turn around. What are you looking for? He asks, confirming how circular the ruin is. As best as I can tell from here. And the map. Partial map I drew. It's pretty damn circular. The intact building is off-center by a lot. Not unexpected. Brandon said ruins don't follow specific shapes or have the heart at fixed location in them. But with a perfect circle, I find myself searching the center. Looking for, I'm not sure what. Something's nagging at me about all of this. But I can't put my finger on it. At least now we know where we're going, Brendan says. Yes, we do, I reply, focusing on a building barely visible among the other. It's in the center, and it too looks in surprisingly good condition. And that concludes chapter 92 of The World Which Is. If you are enjoying this, please leave a like. If you want to know when the next chapter will be up, subscribe and hit the bell. If you want to read this story, it is available for free on the Royal Road. If you want to read ahead of that and support me in the process, that is on my Patreon. And if you are looking to listen to these live, it's every Tuesday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time on Twitch and YouTube. Links are in the notes. And with that, I shall wish you a good day.